Once upon a time, there was an old owl who lived in an oak tree. Every day he observed incidents that occurred around him. Yesterday, he watched as a young boy helped an old man carry a heavy basket. Today, he saw a young girl shouting at her mother. The more he saw, the less he spoke. As the days went on, he spoke less, but heard more. The old owl heard people talking and telling stories. He heard a woman saying an elephant jumped over a fence. He heard a man saying that he had never made a mistake. The old owl had seen and heard what happened to people. There were some who became better, some who became worse. But the old owl in the tree had become wiser each and every day. Moral of the story: be more observant, talk less and listen more. This will make us wise.
Once there lived a camel and a jackal. They were good friends. They lived near a river. One day the jackal came to know that there was a field of ripe melons across the river. His mouth watered, but he could not cross the river. He went to Camel and told him about the melons. The camel was also tempted to eat melons. He carried the jackal on his back and crossed the river. Both of them reached the field. They started eating the melons. The jackal started howling loudly. The owner of the field came running and started beating the camel. When the owner went away, the camel asked the jackal why he had howled. The jackal replied, "It is my habit to howl after a heavy meal." Both of them returned to the river. The jackal jumped on the back of the camel. When they were in the middle of the water, the camel began to roll in the water. The jackal said, "Why are you rolling in the water?" The camel replied, "It is my habit to roll in the water after a heavy meal." The jackal could hardly save himself. One day, two cranes stood by a lake. The lake was full of big fish. It was the breeding season, and a large number of fish had arrived to that part of the lake. The two cranes had seen a very big fish, and they wanted to catch it. For a long time, they watched its movements. Then, one of the cranes caught it by its head. But the fish was very heavy, and she could not pull it out of the water. She needed help. The other crane helped her. She caught hold of the fish by its tail, and both of them pulled it out. They decided to divide the fish among themselves. They were about to cut the fish when the first crane said, "I had caught the fish, therefore I should get a larger part of it." The other crane said, "No, I should get a larger part because I helped you to pull it out." Soon, both of them started quarreling. A jackal had been watching all this. Actually, he had also come to the lakeside to catch a fish. His wife had expressed a desire to eat fish. The jackal had been sitting on the bank of the lake and thinking of a plan to catch a fish. When he saw the cranes quarreling among themselves over a fish, he thought, "The foolish cranes are quarreling over their catch. If I go and net as their judge, I will be able to get hold of the big fish. My wife will be happy to see such a big fish." So he walked up to the cranes and said, "Dear cranes, I have been watching you quarrel over a fish. Can I help you in any way?" The crane said, "Please help us decide who should get the larger share." Then they explained to him how they had caught the fish together. The jackal pretended to be deep in thought. Then he said to the first crane, "You caught the fish by the head, so you should get the head." He cut away the head of the fish and gave it to the first crane. Then he turned to the second crane and said, "You caught the fish by its tail, therefore you should get the tail." He cut the tail of the fish and gave it to her. The two cranes, though, that the jackal would equally divide the body of the fish between them. "However," he said, "now I have acted as your judge. I want my fee. I am taking the body of the fee." So saying, he picked up the fish as my fish and ran away. He reached home and gave the fish to his wife. His wife prepared a tasty fish curry, and both of them enjoyed the curry together.
Once upon a time, a mouse and a frog were close friends. The frog often visited the mouse at his home, and they both shared the food and provisions the mouse had stocked in abundance. One day, the frog invited the mouse to his house. The poor mouse didn't know how to swim. The frog told him that he would make the mouse sit on his back. The mouse immediately agreed. Halfway across the steam, the frog started to get wicked thoughts of eating the mouse. So, the wicked frog dived for the bottom of the stream. The mouse, realizing too late the betrayal of the frog, started to cry for help. A hawk, flying above the stream, saw the scene and swooped down upon the mouse. The hawk picked him up with its beak and started to fly high into the sky. The frog tied to the mouse was also taken away. The frog realized his mistake. In his greed to get more food, he had not only his good friend, but also put his own life into danger.
In a deep, dense jungle, there lived a lion. He was known for his great power. Undoubtedly, he was strong and had mighty claws and teeth, but he had one big problem. He was terrified by the cocking of the rooster. "Can life be worth living if the creature as mighty as me get afraid of such a small creature like a rooster?" the lion cried bitterly. Just as he was in his sad stage, he spied an elephant. The elephant was huge and scary, and he was flapping his large ears quickly to and fro in the great concern. "What troubles you, my friend? Can anything have the power to harm a beast of your size, bulk, and strength?" "Oh yes, you will be shocked. Do you see that black, buzzing gnat? If he wishes to sting inside my ear, I will go mad in pain." The lion, after hearing the elephant, took a promise from himself. He decided not to let troubles come in his way. Also, the lion understood that even the strongest creatures have some weak points. He built up his self-confidence once again. After all, he had much to think of. He was the king of all the beasts. Moral of the story: at some point of time, everyone has his weak points. One should overcome his weakness and look forward to the best things in his life.
Upon a time, an old woman lived in a little hut in a village. She had a little red hen. The woman loved her hen very much. Every day, she would feed the hen with mixed corn and let her out in the courtyard. The hen would walk around, pecking at bugs and insects. Then she would lay an egg in the straw nest under the mango tree. She laid an egg every day. The old woman would sell the egg at the local market for a good price. One evening, the old woman thought, "If I feed the hen twice as much, she will lay 2 eggs every day. Then I will become rich." She feed the hen more and more corn every day. But the red hen only grew big and fat until one day she stopped laying eggs altogether. The old woman repented her miscalculations. Moral of the story: things don't always go as planned.